I watched my own son smile while throwing my clothes into trash bags like I was already dead. That was the moment I realized something terrifying. The people you sacrifice your whole life for can become strangers overnight. And what happened 3 days later completely destroyed my family forever. Before I continue, subscribe to channel name right now because stories like this are not fiction for some people. They are real memories that still hurt years later. And trust me, this story only gets darker from here. My name is Richard Coleman. I'm 71 years old, and until last winter, I believed I had built a strong family. I spent 40 years running a construction company across Ohio. Long days, broken bones, missed birthdays, sleepless nights. I did all of it for my wife, Linda, and our two sons, Ethan and Daniel. At least that's what I told myself. The truth is, sometimes a man works so hard providing for his family that he forgets to notice when the family slowly stops loving him and starts depending on him instead. My wife passed away 4 years ago from cancer. After that, the house became painfully quiet. Some mornings, I still reached across the bed, expecting to feel her there. Losing someone after 47 years together feels like losing part of your own body. After Linda died, Daniel convinced me to move into his house. He said he wanted to take care of me. At the time, I thought I was lucky. A lot of old men end up completely alone. I believed my son genuinely cared. For the first year, everything felt normal. I helped drive my granddaughter to school. I cooked dinner sometimes. I even helped Daniel manage paperwork for the business, because technically, I still owned most of the company's shares even after retirement. But slowly, things changed. The small disrespect started first. Nobody waited for me before eating dinner anymore. My opinions became interruptions. Conversations stopped whenever I entered the room. Some days, Daniel barely looked at me at all unless he needed something signed. I noticed everything. Old men always notice more than people think. One night, I accidentally overheard Daniel's wife talking on the phone in the kitchen. "I swear," she whispered, "it feels like having another child in the house." I stood frozen in the hallway, listening to her laugh softly afterward. That laugh stayed in my head for weeks. After my heart surgery, things became worse fast. Recovery at my age isn't easy. Walking hurt, sleeping hurt, even breathing felt heavy sometimes. And nothing makes people reveal their true feelings faster than becoming inconvenient to them. 3 weeks after surgery, Daniel invited everyone over for family dinner. His older brother, Ethan, came with his wife. The grandchildren were laughing in the living room, while football played loudly on television. For a moment, I almost felt normal again. Then Daniel ruined everything. We were halfway through dinner when I accidentally dropped my spoon. It hit the floor loudly, and soup splashed across the tablecloth. I reached down slowly to grab it, but pain shot through my chest immediately. Before I could even straighten up, Daniel sighed aggressively. "Jesus, Dad." The entire table went quiet. "I'm sorry," I whispered. But he shook his head. "No, seriously. This is getting ridiculous now." I remember looking around the table, waiting for someone to stop him. Nobody did. Daniel leaned back in his chair and laughed under his breath. "The whole house revolves around you now," he said. "Every day there's another problem, another appointment, another mess." His wife stared at her plate silently. Ethan looked away. And then came the sentence I will hear for the rest of my life. "You're basically useless now." I felt my stomach drop instantly. Not because of anger, because of heartbreak. You expect cruelty from enemies. Not from your own child. Nobody defended me. That silence hurt more than his words ever could. I folded my napkin carefully beside my untouched food and stood up slowly. Daniel shook his head. "Oh, great. Now everybody's going to act like I'm the bad guy for saying the truth. Still, nobody stopped him. I walked toward my bedroom while my chest burned from something much deeper than surgery pain. Inside the room, I closed the door and sat alone in darkness for nearly an hour. Then I opened the wall safe behind my closet. Inside were documents nobody in that house knew existed. Property deeds, investment accounts, ownership contracts. You see, Daniel believed he controlled the construction company now. Publicly, he acted like CEO everywhere. Nice suits, expensive watch, fancy office downtown. But legally, everything still belonged to me. I never transferred majority ownership after retirement because Linda once warned me not to. Never give away everything while you're still alive, she used to say. People change when money becomes involved. Back then, I thought she worried too much. That night, sitting alone with those papers in my hands, I realized she had seen this coming years before I did. The next morning, I woke before sunrise and called my lawyer. Her name was Margaret Ellis, smart woman, honest. One of the few people I still trusted completely. When she arrived later that morning, Daniel looked confused seeing her walk into the kitchen carrying folders. "What's going on?" he asked. Margaret looked directly at me first. "You want me to proceed?" I nodded once. Daniel laughed nervously. "Proceed with what?" Margaret opened the folder calmly. "Effective immediately, Richard Coleman is reclaiming full operational control of Coleman Construction Holdings." Daniel blinked several times. "What?" "All executive permissions connected to company accounts are suspended pending review." The color drained from his face instantly. "You can't do that." I finally looked him directly in the eyes. "Yes," I said quietly, "I can." His breathing changed immediately. For the first time in years, my son looked genuinely afraid. "Dad, what is this?" "This," I replied calmly, "is what happens when people mistake kindness for weakness." Ethan stared at me, speechless, from across the kitchen. Daniel's wife slowly lowered her coffee cup, like she suddenly realized the ground beneath her life was disappearing. Daniel slammed his hand against the counter. "You're seriously doing this over one argument?" I shook my head slowly. "No, I'm doing this because your argument revealed the truth." The room fell silent again, and then I said the sentence that changed everything forever. "You stopped seeing me as your father a long time ago." Daniel looked stunned, almost wounded. But deep down, he knew I was right. For years, I kept forgiving disrespect because I was terrified of ending up alone. A lot of elderly parents do the same thing. We tolerate humiliations just to remain included in our children's lives. But something changes inside a man when he realizes he's already lonely even while surrounded by family. That fear disappears. Margaret handed me another folder. "These are also revisions to the estate," she said carefully. Daniel froze. "You changed the will?" I didn't answer immediately, because honestly, that part hurt me too. Every parent imagines leaving something meaningful behind for their children someday. Nobody imagines rewriting their will because their own son called them useless during dinner. But life doesn't care about our expectations. I signed the documents quietly. Daniel stared at me with tears forming now. "You're destroying this family." I almost laughed hearing that, because the cruelest people always accuse others of creating the damage they cause themselves. "No," I answered softly. "I'm finally protecting myself from it." Then I picked up my coat and car keys. As I reached the front door, Ethan finally spoke for the first time all morning. "Dad, where are you going?" I paused without turning around, away from people who only love me when I'm useful. Then I walked out the door, and none of them realized that would be the last normal day our family would ever have again. If you've ever felt invisible inside your own family, comment "I understand" below and share this story with someone who still believes respect should never disappear with age.